the Get Up and Shine Show, where your host Lillian Taylor brings you intimate and inspiring interviews from people who faced off with serious life struggles and prevailed. As our guests revisit with the moments, realizations, and tools that helped them break through, you might just walk away more empowered in your own life. It's that time. Get up and shine.
Hi, this is Lillian Taylor with Get Up and Shine.
Didn't have any social existence at all for maybe a year and a half, 2 years. But I needed it too because there was no place to interact with people because I had no idea who I was.
We found our next guest happily engaging at the Miami Web Fest this past weekend. You would never guess that he had to rebuild his life. David found himself writhing deep in agony from a domestic life gone south. When he was finally able to re-engage with his life, he took that pain and transformed it into a passion that fueled a new and highly successful career. Hi, here we are with David Ogrodowski at the Miami Web Fest, an actor.
Hello.
And a fine gentleman from
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
And he runs a Web Fest up there as well?
I do, a film festival. Film festival, yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And how long have you been doing that?
That's been, it's going on 5 years, I believe. The Pittsburgh Uncut and the Pittsburgh Cut. 2 different festivals, 2 different times a year. Uncut is regular films, and Cut is for horror films around the fall.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, a lot of fun. All shorts, very, very short films, 10 minutes or less. Yes.
All right. And before that, before starting a film festival, you became an actor.
I did, yes.
Was that your first foray into the world of entertainment?
Mostly, although I was a drummer in many, many bands when I was younger.
I love music. I'm actually doing a
Yes, that's right. We talked earlier. You said you were a musician. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So I'm also a drummer, and I've performed live a lot as a drummer in bands.
Nice. You have a great voice. I'm surprised you wouldn't have sung as well.
Oh, thank you. I'm not a good singer.
No? Okay. All right. So you were telling me a story just a moment ago about what brought you to acting.
Yes.
Okay. In our format, we like to help people who are struggling and stuck where they are, or just maybe not even stuck, but just looking for a way to break through whatever barriers they have.
Yes.
And so if you can share some of what it took for you to be, is that your love, acting?
It is. It really is my passion. I do it full time, yes.
And then was it always your passion? You just never pursued it?
No. I started acting about 7 years ago, a few years after a very, very painful divorce. I was married for 10 years, extremely loyal, and after 10 years of marriage, the wife just walked. Just went to work one day and didn't come back home, essentially.
And never told you anything, just disappeared.
Hardly any explanation. Just apparently she got a promotion. I understood she got a new promotion at work and took the promotion, and it was in California, Sunnyvale, California. I'm in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and she just walked out the door one morning and didn't come back, essentially.
Oh, my heavens.
Yeah.
That must have been really traumatic for you.
It was. It really was. A mind-blowing experience because I really built my life around this person, as we do, when we partner up with people. Yeah. We make space for them in our lives, and we do things for them.
Make accommodations.
Yeah, exactly. And my whole, 10 years of my existence, what felt like, my whole life dedicated to this, and all of a sudden, game over, new person, new life, new situation. Yeah. It was very weird, very, very weird.
So what did you do to get through that? I mean, I know acting eventually came out of that.
Acting definitely was the destination.
Okay.
Well, at first, being honest, not to go too dark, but for some of the people at home that struggle through this type of thing, that makes it real, I guess they can deal with it in reality, is I'd be very, very depressed, became very, very depressed, and became a hermit, and didn't speak to anyone, didn't have any social existence really at all for an honest maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And I lived out in the country at the time, alone with 2 dogs and 2 cats that she left behind also.
So it's really easy to isolate yourself.
Yeah.
Did
absolutely.
You need that, or was it not good for you?
It was not good for me.
Okay.
But I needed it too because there was no place to interact with people because I had no idea who I was. Okay. So I figured if I had a conversation with someone, it wouldn't be me talking to them. It'd be some unidentified fabric of myself. You know what I mean? Because I had lost so much of myself in that marriage. It was very, very painful. But that was the value of acting for me.
Okay, so how did acting come about?
So a friend told me that there was an audition for the local Pittsburgh's opera for supernumeraries.
What is that?
Supernumerary is actually in the opera, and I'm a big fan of symphony and opera and music we talked about. And supernumeraries in opera are the equivalent to movie background extras, essentially. They do use them in opera. They don't sing. They show up. They either look good or look rough or look whatever they need to look for the character. And soldiers, townspeople, this kind of thing. And they're all throughout opera. If you follow opera very much, supernumeraries. It's Italian for extra numbers, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I auditioned, and it's actually an interesting story. I auditioned for the audition was easy. You just walked in and said, I'm available, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But the director walked up to us on the very first day, and this was for Billy Budd, which was 100 people. I mean, 70-odd singers and 30 supernumeraries.
Okay.
And the director was German, and he was holding a whip.
Whoa.
True story.
Oh, no.
And he walks up to us, and he's holding this whip, all these supernumeraries, men.
And you're like, this is America 2000. Right. Yeah.
And he says, I'll do my best German accent. Who among you knows how to crack a whip?
What? Repeat that.
He says, I say, who among you knows how to crack a whip?
Oh, my.
Yeah. I happen to know how to crack a whip because I was at this Halloween party once, and they all gave away toy whips, and I figured out how to crack a whip that way. Not because of anything weird or nefarious, but so I raised my hand, and no one else did. And he says, "Prove it." And so he hands me this whip. Now, this was not a toy whip. This was a real live bullwhip. I mean, the real thing,
Yeah.
But the physics are all the same. So I cracked it. I just, Yeah. Now, we were in an auditorium with about 100 other people. And they were all milling about and buzzing about and, making their noises and whatever. I cracked that whip, and the whole auditorium went dead silent.
Like, what happened?
Crickets. Yeah.
Oh, my.
And he says, you go with them. And he sent me off with a stage brawler, training, makeup, costuming, and another coach just for stage presence and that kind of thing. Oh, and whip training, too.
Wow.
five, 6 different trainers and everything. And I got the role of the slave driver.
Oh, Lord.
On Billy Budd. Billy Budd's a story about English using French as slaves on their ships. And I was an English slave driver using French people.
Oh, my heavens.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Emotionally?
So that was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Because that role required me to walk out on the stage at the beginning of the opera before the opera began, before the curtains opened, walk right out to the audience, never done acting before in my life, and take the whip and crack it at the audience.
Wow.
And I went out there. I mean, of course, we rehearsed it so many times. I knew what I was going to do and how to do it and whatever. But on the night that I did it, I went out there, and I'm seeing all these people, and I just felt a full transformation go over me, like a bright light just passed through me. And I did my thing, and I felt this energy from the audience, and then the curtains opened up, and then the whole cast was behind me, and it was the most mind-blowing experience of my life.
So, in a good way.
In a good way. Yeah. being a villain. Wow. It was wonderful. Yeah. Wow. I'm not normally a villain.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So that was your introduction, and then just because of your stage presence, you were all in demand, or did you continue to have to audition? What happened?
So that was my hell of a start.
Yeah.
And I knew from then that I wanted to do it more. So the very next choice was to start going on auditions for local stuff, low-end stuff, just whatever I could get my hands on. The very first audition I went on, I got a role. It was a locally written thing, small production. And that was a wonderful experience. I loved it. And then the next one I went on, I won a role, and I just kept winning auditions and just being very lucky, I guess.
And so these were paid, unpaid?
Oh, at the first unpaid, mostly, yeah.
Okay. So.
But then when I started getting into film happened. Have you ever heard of the 48-Hour Film Festival?
Yes.
I'm sure some of the people at home have as well, but just to give a quick definition, it's an event where it's a competition, and you have exactly 48 hours from moment one to close to write, shoot, and edit and add credits to a film. They give you a prop that you have to use, a line of dialogue that you have to use, character's name that has to be used, and a couple other things that have to be in there. Makes it hard for you to write it before the event.
Right.
So you can write it the day of the event. I signed up for one of those, won that audition, and got in with a team.
How large was your team?
The team was about 20 people.
Wow, that's
about
big.
20 people, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, the name of the team, just for the point of reference, and this was about 7 years ago, was Everything But the Name was the name of the team. We did it. It blew my mind. I loved it. It was exhilarating. I loved film because you could do it again and again and again, whereas stage you only get one chance to get it right, but I loved film. I could experiment a little bit, and that was fun. And we went to the competition, and this is where everything changed for me. I didn't know how many other teams there would be. And I'm betting probably your audience, I'm from Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a very small town. They probably think maybe not that many teams. And I didn't think there would be that many either. We went into the show to see who else participated and what other shows they brought in. And the fact of the matter is there was 50 other teams in little Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania that had signed up for this thing and participated in it. And 47-ish of them delivered, yeah, like 3 of them failed. They didn't get in on time, or they had enough technical difficulties or whatever. And I saw that, and I realized that independent filmmaking is where I wanted to be.
Big deal in Pittsburgh.
Big deal in Pittsburgh, yeah. So it was a mind-blowing experience for me. Using that 48, I built on it, went on more auditions, got more roles. Was very lucky because I did several 48-hour film festivals after that, but I actually won Best Actor award in 3 of them, which was
nice.
A big honor for me.
That's great.
Yeah, the very next one I did, I got a Best Actor award for that.
Were you trained?
No.
Have you ever taken any training?
No. I think, and this definitely harkens to your podcast and your theme, and I'm really honored that you gave me this chance to talk, and maybe I can affect other people's lives with this. I think it was probably for me, and I think it's important. Not every artist needs this. Not every artist can excel because of this. But I think the pain or the suffering can be an energy, a power source.
Yes.
And you can harness that pain that you're feeling that is affecting you, and you can turn it around and use it to charge yourself for a different, better venue, for a higher plateau. And I would say that applies to everybody.
Yes.
And there are brilliant artists that had perfectly fine nuclear families, happy marriages, and everything's okay. And there are still brilliant artists on their own, and that's that doesn't necessarily mean you have to suffer to be a perfect artist. But I think that if you do have suffering in your life and things are difficult, you can use that as a power and excel in whatever it is that is your interest.
So as you're going into these roles, you're tapping into were you analyzing the feelings consciously?
Absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah.
What was your first role?
Well, the first role was the whip that slave driver.
Okay, wait. In movies.
Yes, I was tapping into my pain, and somebody gave me a whip. And I said, "Thank you."
Here you go, wifey. There's just no bypass around emotional pain. It resolves only by going through it, but it does leave. Maybe it'll require months or years of introspection, perhaps therapy. Maybe solitude for a while, but it's pretty hard to know who you are outside of the construct of social interaction. Stay engaged with your life. You never know what jewel may emerge from what you once thought to be completely without merit. Ever thought that sharing your story might help someone else? Meet Milana Walter. Milana, tell our audience about your story your way.
Many times, hearing someone else's story gave me that jolt of hope needed at the time. Can your story help someone? At Your Story Your Way, we help you tell it as a short story, book, or script. No one knows your story better than you. So what are you waiting for? Visit yourstoryyourway.com.
Next week, we're back with Melanie Borden talking about her emerging journey from a health challenge using an ancient modality. Until then, whether you're giving an overwhelmed mother a helping hand, planting trees, or protecting the public, we need you. You matter. So until next week, get up and shine like you know you can.
We'll return next Tuesday with more great content. Catch a preview at www.getupandshineshow.com and join the mailing list for access to great tools to help you. And remember, it's your time to get up and shine.